Hey there, starseeds, wanderers, curious out-of-body explorers, and everyone. Welcome back again to the Astral Tourist, the podcast where we poke around the edges of consciousness, sneak through wormholes of awareness, and sometimes wind up halfway out of our own heads. Yes. So today we're doing two things at once. First, I'm unpacking the so-called new head lift technique that's been blowing up on Reddit, TikTok, and other corners of the internet. Spoiler alert, it's not actually new, and that's okay. And then I'll share a vivid astral trip I had over Sweden, where I actually used that technique to separate from my body before I went to Sweden in the astral. Think of this episode as part myth-busting, part story time, part how-to headlift. So you've probably seen the advice floating around, just lift your head out of your body and the rest will follow, or something similar. And here's the thing with this technique. You're not doing a full-on energetic sit-up. You're not trying to Hulk smash your astral body out of your skin. It's more like a barely there twitch of conscious awareness. Now, keep in mind I'm speaking from my own experiences, and others, of course, may vary. So for me, it's just a little micro movement of intention, a subtle sense that your head or any part of you is about to float, shift, flicker, almost like the ghosts of a movement. So like I was saying, for me, it's not a lift. I think of it more as a little twitch. And that's what works for me. That's my unique take on this head lift. And I've been doing this for many years with different parts of my astral body. This will work with your little toe, with your little finger, with any little twitch kind of a movement. So the key isn't the head, although for some it may be. In my case, I'm again recommending any little part. And it's about more the subtlety of the intention and the movement. You're not trying to drag your whole self out of your physical body like furniture, okay? It's like tricking your system into the separation with the smallest possible spark of intent and motion. And again, it's not new. It's just been reborn with new language. So Robert Monroe talked about, of course, extending a limb first. And the rope technique with Robert Bruce, same deal, only extending a rope, a partial motion, and then follow through. So this is ramen noodles in a newfangled, modernized bowl. And, if that's the version that finally clicks for someone, that's great. I mean, that's how these techniques survive. They get renamed, repackaged, remixed. People try them out and do different things for themselves. And, everything is just, kind of like blooming like a flower out there. And boom, someone finds their way out of body for the first time. And the thing that they read about was the head lift. And that's kind of beautiful. So again, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's really not new. That's all. So let me tell you how this played out for me recently. So about a week or two ago, before the harvest moon astral projections I had decided to do the head lift technique while I was trying to fall asleep, which again, I've used many times before. And again, I'm, in my mind, I call it the twitch technique. And that's what I've been calling it for years. Like if I'm just going to try to twitch out. So in my version, what I do is I just make this subtle inner intention of an astral motion, of like a subtle nod. Like if I'm going to do it with my head, I think of it as like I'm barely going to want to move a muscle in my neck to move my head. Like it's that subtle for me, and that's when it works. So nothing big or dramatic like trying to put a whole arm out there. Again, twitch. And you can call it a lift, and you can try all different things for yourself to see what works for you. And, in this case, I was just laying there wondering if I was falling asleep or not. And usually by the time I wonder that, I have bypassed any kind of vibrational stage, and I'm kind of just right there on the edge of full-on sleep. And so I think that's why it worked on the first try. I just caught it at the right moment. So as soon as I had that barely there intention of making a wanting to make like a nod to test and see if I was in the astral yet and could get out, it worked, and it worked so fast. My head popped up. I felt the separation phase, and it all went so fast. I'm not sure if I did a whole separation with my whole energy body or if it was just my head. And then I had a bit of a blackout phase after I was out, where I just sensed myself flying at a great speed. So again, I was kind of on an autonomous projection, even though I had made a really planned one by making the intention to go, only using this head lift technique, twitch lift thing. And when I became fully lucid, I found myself on a cruise ship, relaxing in an entertainment room where a movie was playing. The atmosphere was warm and kind of cozy, but I wanted to explore because that's what I'm out there for. So I looked out the window and I saw this absolutely stunning view. A lake surrounded by soft hills and forests. They weren't super tall. No redwoods here, wherever I was. It felt magnetic, and I knew I had to go explore. There was just really something special about this location. Oh my gosh. I could see why my astral body would zoom over there. So I flew off the ship right through the window, and I started soaring across the landscape over those gentle hills and rolling forests. And the lake in particular had a particular indentation I took note of at one part of it. Then there were the lush trees and gentle terrains. It wasn't sharp mountainous, like I said, rolling and peaceful, vibrant. And so I landed near a small road where I had spotted a few people gathering and talking. And so I always take that as a big plus sign, go interact and find out where I am, because I didn't know where I was at that point yet. And, the vibe was calm and grounded. They didn't seem like troublemakers or anything. Of course, you never know. In the astral, you can get anything just going up to people randomly like this. But I approached one of the men. He told me his name was David. I told him who I was. And we had a little telepathic chat going on there. So none of this was verbal. This was all telepathic. And it was easy to understand him, and he could understand me. We even talked about our astral projection subreddit on Reddit. He knows about it. He kept telling me he's originally from the U.S. to get that point across. I think he was trying to find out if I was too. And I was like, yes, I'm in the U.S. And so when I asked him where we were, he said Stout, Sweden, spelled S-T-O-U-T. And I asked him again just to be sure, because I didn't recognize any kind of a place like that in Sweden, And he said it exactly the same way again, Stout, Sweden. So I just took it at his word, and I said, okay, now remember our minds interpret. So I figured I would have to look that up later, which I did. But also, he was telepathing fairly quickly once we got going with the telepathy. And he really was interested in confirming our meeting, which, excited me to no end. I love when we're trying to prove this to each other out there. So he really wanted to do something in particular to help prove it. Once we both returned to the physical. So he's pretty experienced at astral projection, which is also a rare find, and somebody that knows how to try to remember their astral projections too. Wow. This guy's, to me, on fire, figuratively, of course. So what he did was he showed me one of his tattoos. Apparently he has a number of them. And this one was a mouse with a ribbon tied in a bow on its head. And I'm not going to tell you where the tattoo is located because this is a PG channel. So I'll leave that to your imagination. And I showed him one of my little flower tattoos. And he even sketched it out on a notepad, noting the design style. Like he wanted to make sure that he would remember it by writing it down. And he wrote it down in great detail. And it didn't look exactly like mine, but I could see where he was going with the memory work there. The way he was really embedding the lines deep into the paper. He was etching them in. And that's another trick you can do for memory work. Etching things in with writing or intention and, like that. So after that was done, 2 more people joined us and started talking about reality shifting. And one guy was warning the others to only do it for short bursts and said it was too intense for long-term exploration. And I asked him if he thought he was reality shifting there inside that moment with us, or if he thought he was astral projecting. Because I knew we were all astral projecting. And I don't know, reality shifting is still kind of, I don't want to get into it right now, but that's a whole different ball game. So anyway, he gave me this full-on mystery pause. Like, you could tell he was really wondering about it. Like, where am I really kind of a look? And so, yeah, that was, fascinating. Shortly after that, I woke up. So, of course, I immediately made my notes, wrote everything down that I could remember, and then I began doing some digging on the internet. And I found out that the area that I'd seen closely matches an area near Grindston, spelled Grindsjon, a small lake in Stockholm County, surrounded by woods and hills. It's near a place called Norra Stutby. I hope I'm saying these places correctly. So the shape of the lake, the feel of the area, the narrow roads, which I didn't go into a lot of detail about, but the roads seemed quite narrow in that area. All of it aligned with what I'd seen. And I could not find a place just called Stout at all. I kept putting it in different places and asking ChatGPT and looking it up on Google. And actually ChatGPT was the most helpful by, I put in my whole experience and it told me about this Norra Stutby place that could be having the same kind of description. And I looked up those pictures from there on Google. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this Grindston Lake that I was flying over. And where those people were chatting was near a smallish town on one of those super narrow roads I'd seen. And that's Norra Stutby. So, again, I can't be 100% absolutely sure, but it sure looked the same to me. So that's the magic of astral travel. The landscape sometimes mirrors reality. Sometimes it does with a lot of other things going on in it. Our minds interpret everything. So that Stout, at least it got me on the right track. And wow, I just got to be like, wow, I got to see some of Sweden. So this was kind of a belated episode because I had all the other stuff going on with the Saturn episode and everything, and all of these take time to make. So for this one, about the not-so-new head lift technique, which for me really comes down to a twitch of barely there, I almost want to move my head or finger or toe. Intention. It's a twitch of intention. And then if you need to actually almost think about a muscle memory. And this is how it took me on a vivid journey through an astral dimension of Sweden. So the head lift is just one flavor of a classic trick. Move something small and tiny first, or even just the thought about it as part of your test to see if your astral body is good to go. It can be a pinky finger, a pinky toe. I keep focusing on these tiny digits because you try to move your whole arm, it might not go. It might not. You can try it. But if you just think, I only need a little bit, That's the real trick there for this technique, at least for me. And if you do happen to get a whole arm or leg out, that's great too. And just a little add-on tip here. If you get any tiny part out, you don't have to pull the whole rest out like I've been saying this entire episode. And the additional trick is, like, even if you just got like your tiniest toenail out, instead of trying to even do more than that, you can send your intention down and through that toe. You don't even have to focus on a physical form after you make any kind of a tiny separation like that. It's not about the form. It's about the intention and the intention to go. So at that point, you're good to go. That's my specialized tip. And of course, this is all just my take on it as a barely there specialized twitch move. Sometimes I feel kind of like an astral martial artist. So if this helped, or if you've had similar trips, I'd love to hear your stories. And if you are enjoying these astral adventures, please like, subscribe, and share with other curious travelers of consciousness. Until next time, happy astral travels, and may your next little twitch take you somewhere unforgettable.